Hello, hello, and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I'm your host, Valette Sunshine, and I'm so excited to be here with Miss Kaitlyns today. Kaitlyns, thank you so much for being here and being willing to share your story. I think it's very brave of Kaitlyns to come forward and want to tell her story because a lot of times we just don't hear about eating disorders. It's very real, it is very present, but people just do not talk about it for whatever reasons. And so I'm just glad to have this story and have Kaitlyns to share with the world. And our mission is just to try to impact other people's lives and to help them know that it's okay to talk about it, to share it with someone to get the help that they need. And also, if you would share, subscribe, share, and like this video, we would appreciate you so much. So let's just get started, Kaitlyns. So glad that you're here again, and I appreciate it. And I'm just gonna let you just finally at first just come out and just tell me how it started, what happened.
Okay, so we can go way back to the beginning, and I can remember being probably 12 years old, and I had a little boyfriend in like 6th grade, and I remember he wrote me a note and broke up with me because he thought I was overweight. So I was like a chubby kid, you know, and back then in 6th grade, you don't think about that stuff.
Right.
So, and then I had a friend that wanted to stop being my friend because she thought I was overweight.
Kaitlyns.
Yeah. So that was kind of where I guess it started, which it wasn't really that big of a deal then. I mean, I remember like not eating at lunch and stuff like that. And
So this was in 6th grade?
yeah.
Okay.
And
okay.
so I remember I hit puberty, and after that I got tall and I was really thin, and so I didn't really
And pretty.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have a lot of problems after that. But I mean, I do remember that's kind of where like more like body image issues,
Right.
not really so much of an eating disorder. And so then, you know, I would constantly worry about what I look and what people thought of me and things like that. And so as I got older, I got into, you know, fitness and health, and I started being a personal trainer.
Okay, let's stop right there before you go into your older life, because a lot of our issues stems from our childhood, whether it's your upbringing, if that's, you know, wasn't so good, or whatever the issue is, and it's never taken care of or it's not talked about.
Right.
So the issue's not resolved, and then I always say, you know, it just kind of dwindles into your adulthood. And so basically what you're saying is that from that point, it dwindled into your adulthood.
Right.
And
right.
so you started having those concerns about your weight and what you look like at
12,
just from 12 till now, basically.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, I would come home crying from school all the time, and my parents were like, oh, you know, it's just baby fat, like you're gonna grow out of it, you know. And I did, and they were right, but it still stuck.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as, you know, getting healthier, and, you know, I had lost weight, and, you know, being obsessed with the gym, like I was just in there all the time. So
well, so glad you said that, because as I was doing my research, and we're talking about bulimia, a bulimia disorder, and so what that is basically you eat, and behind eating comes purging, or one of the other characteristics of that was going to the gym, over exercising, and that's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
So it might not be that you're eating a lot and then you go and purge. It could be that, or it could be both, or it could be all of it, right? So tell me how yours was.
So mine, after I lost weight, you know, dieting for so long, you know, your body's basically starving. So that's where it would get to the point where I really started over-exercising. So it wasn't, and, you know, being a personal trainer, not only working in the gym and training clients and working on yourself, it was easy for me to be in the gym 4 hours a day.
Right.
And so to hide that was easy.
Right.
Nobody knew I had problems, and I didn't talk about it because I would fix it myself. And so then, you know, when it got to the point where my weight would fluctuate so much because I would go through things, you know, emotionally, or even comforting myself, like with food, or, I mean, whether I was happy, sad, mad, whatever, I just used food to cope with that.
Right.
And so, you know, sometimes it would get out of hand to where, you know, the exercising wasn't working. So then, you know, there's other steps to take, like purging, as in, you know, making yourself throw up.
Did you purge?
Yes.
So you did purge.
So, I mean, basically everything there is to over-exercising, taking laxatives,
So you
making
did it
yourself, all of it. I mean,
and
whatever.
all of those characteristics were listed, you know, and so I hear you, and then so when you say you took care of it yourself, that's like a drug addict that self-medicates, or somebody that had been prescribed pills and now they're having other issues, so now they're self-medicating and not getting the actual help that they need, and that sounds like that's what happened.
Right. And I kind of got to the point where, you know, I was sick of this, you know, roller coaster. It was a yo-yo diet all the time. Like, I would diet down. Like, I knew what I needed to do to diet. I just couldn't stick to it because I was being so restrictive. And then on top of, but I mean, it's not just restricting yourself and being hungry. Like, it's a mental thing too. So things I was going through, you know, trying to, I guess, make my brain happy, kind of like that serotonin or whatever that they say in your brain, that to kind of what's the word I'm trying to say, just like coax myself, you know, whatever, make myself feel better.
Yeah, so when you say restrictive, are you saying that you weren't eating anything?
No, I would diet. Like, I'm, you know, I know all my nutrition side of things, like, you know, how to calculate your macros and calories and count all that stuff. So because I did it for my clients. So
Can you do it for me? No.
Okay. So I mean, I know how to do that. So I was dieting right.
Yes.
It's just it just doesn't matter. It's the mental state that I was in, because the whole thing with counting your calories and tracking your carbs and fats and proteins, like, it was like screwing with my mind.
Yeah, that has to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because I got to make sure I'm keeping up with this. I got to make sure it's not in this. I got to look at the ingredients and make sure.
The overwhelming part would make me want to, like, it wasn't that I was hungry. I would be physically full, but I would have like a void I was trying to fill. And so I would, you know, I guess try to quiet that down with food or, you know, what have you. And, so things like that. So I was spending all my time in the gym. So I decided, you know, I was sick of doing that. So I was like, well, you know, I'm going to go the next step farther and I'm going to do a bikini competition. And so I got a coach and we started my prep. It was about a 20-week prep.
How long ago was this?
This was just back in May of this year. I started my prep.
May of
2018.
Yeah.
So, you know, 2018, so started my prep, and then everything went really well. You know, having like a coach to check in with and certain, you know, meal plan to follow, certain workouts to follow. Like, it was very easy to just follow, and the results followed with it, you know? You know, but being how I am, I'm not a naturally thin person. I have to work at it, so it was getting very difficult for the weight to come off, and so, you know, I would take supplements and, you know, all the stuff that they put you on just to kind of max the fat loss, like, because you're trying to lose, pretty much get as lean as possible in 20
so
weeks.
the supplements are causing weight loss as well?
So like fat burners and things like that. And so just like gym supplements and things like that. And so obviously that, you know, they cause you to have more energy. And so, you know, I was probably sleeping like 4 hours every night, and I would wake up and spend 2 hours in the gym, go to work, and then spend 2 hours in the gym after work.
Oh, God.
So it was like 4 hours a day.
No sleep. And then doing that.
Which I didn't feel sleep deprived because of everything I was on. I was so, like, you know, energy, and everyone's like, how do you do this? And I'm like, oh, I'm so motivated. You know, like,
and they don't know what's going on.
And, you know, and you're just so beat all the time. Well, then, you know, as you get closer down to prep, that energy fades. And so it got to the point where it was very grueling. I was over it. And so that's where you know, not only do I have this mental issue, but I'm actually physically hungry on top of that. So we literally got to the last week of my prep. I was about to start my, what they call peak week, and my show was that next weekend. And it got so terribly bad that I didn't trust myself. I woke up at, like, Josh, my husband, had to lock all of his food that he ate in the closet, so because I would wake up in the middle of the night and just, like, it was like a blackout thing. Like, I could not control it, and then I'd wake up the next morning and I'd either try to not eat all day, or I'd make myself throw up, or, you know, like, whatever. And I was, you know, I just kept telling my coach everything was fine because I was still seeing some results, but towards the end we were so back and forth. He knew something was up, so he called me and we had a long conversation. I was like, look, dude, like, I can't stop eating. Like, and so he's like, well, you know, you got to get it together. We're so close. We're almost there.
You know what? That is so real. it may not be that you're in the gym doing it, but people are eating and don't want to eat like that.
Right.
Like, I just gotta have it. I'm not hungry, but I know it's in there, so I gotta eat it. I know I'm sitting here working. I gotta get up and get something to eat.
Right.
It's a mental thing that plays with your mind,
Right.
and so many people go through it. So not, it's happening across the board, and people are not even realizing that they have a problem with, I'm eating too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because. Yeah. For no reason.
And some people don't until they do start tracking and to lose weight. And, for the normal person, like that, it comes very easy if you don't have any issues. But it's other issues that make that happen. So.
Such as?
I mean, anything as far as like being like an emotional eater, like if you have a bad day at work or,
that causes you, whatever you go through causes you to eat. If I'm sad today, I'm going to eat the house up. If I'm,
and so sometimes that'll happen. Like if I have a stressful day at work, like instead of, some people might come home and open a beer, I would come home and like want to eat.
Yeah.
Or, and then it got to the point, you're mentally so drained and exhausted and you're in a totally different state that when I literally had a 6-pack, which I don't now, but but I had a 6-pack and I thought I was fat. Like, you know what I mean? And it was just, it was crazy that I mentally thought that I was.
Right. And people say, no, you're not, you're fine. And just because people say that to you and that's what they see, you don't see it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so it got to the point where I couldn't go a day. I couldn't trust myself. Like I would try to wake up, conquer the day, always let it conquer me. I would end up, going back to it just became a habit for me. Like it was, first it was like once every month, then it was like once every couple weeks, once a week, then it was like almost every day, and I was like, I have to quit. Like I'm not going to make it through peak week because that's the hardest week of your entire prep, where they cut you down and dry you out, and you're just cutting your...
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
While you were preparing for this whole time, how many weeks did you say it was?
20.
So it's 20 weeks. During this whole 20-week period, you're almost there. You're at week. Were you purging?
Not the whole time.
But you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Towards the middle to end. And so I finally quit because, I looked great and I probably could have done the show, but like mentally I didn't feel comfortable stepping on that stage in a little tiny bikini. And I hated myself. Like it's like the fact that I couldn't stop and I had no self-control, like it's to the point, like I had never wanted to hurt myself before, but it's just like I was so mad at myself.
So you felt like you couldn't tell anybody? Or did you? So you didn't talk to anybody?
I started looking up stuff online and it said...
So just trying to cope by yourself?
Right. And it just kept saying, tell somebody. And I was like, I can't tell anybody. Yeah. Like, everybody thinks I'm like, I had so many girls look up to me that I taught in my camps and at the gym and, like, my family. And they're everywhere I went, how's your competition going? Oh, you look so great. And in my head, I'm like, I'm a freaking fraud.
Yeah, and like, you can't,
And I couldn't, I couldn't do it anymore. Like, I was like, and so I told my husband, and...
So you finally told your husband?
Yes.
Okay.
But
did he suspect... he was locking the food up. Was this locking the food up during your
This was after I told him.
Okay, so he locked the food up after you told him. But before you told him, did he ever suspect? Did he ever say anything while you're eating? Or he just, I loved you for who you were, and that was it?
Yeah,
And he
knew before I loved food. Like, it's always been a joke within my family. Like, oh, Kaylin loves to eat, whatever. But no one really knew that, like, it was like, oh, I have to eat this because it's right here because I'm going to restrict myself for the rest of the week, Right. So it's like, I got to get this in now, whether I'm hungry or not, Stuff like that. So it was an obsession, and I would, like... wake up thinking about food, go to sleep thinking about food. Like, it was, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and having a binge, and I just sat down on the kitchen floor bawling, and I was like, why can't I stop? Like, I just, like, why? And
where was your husband?
Asleep.
He was asleep, so you just...
I would do a lot of it, I would do it alone.
Well, in the research, it says you withdraw from people, just like people on drugs. It's no different. You refrain from being around people, or you'll sneak food and go somewhere else and eat it, so people wouldn't see you eat it.
Yeah, I would... I remember one time I said, hey, I'm going to go to the office, I'm going to do a little bit of work on a weekend, which isn't rare for me. I do that, and I went to the store and bought food and sat in my car and ate it.
That's what you did.
It didn't go work. I didn't go to work, and then after I did it, I felt so guilty that I called my husband, and I was like, I just lied to you. Like, this is what just happened. He's like, come home. And I just remember crying, and he just held me, and like, it was just.
So where was your breaking point, Kaitlyns? You said, I need to tell somebody. I can't do it on my own. I've been doing this, this, and this. It's not working for me.
Like, the final breaking point to where I wanted to get help. I mean, my husband knew pretty much the whole time, and then I finally had told, like, my mom and my sister, and, you know, then I opened up a little bit to my friends before I quit, because I wanted to make an announcement of my quitting, and I wanted to make a statement that, I mean, like, this isn't what you need to do to fix yourself.
Right. And also an accountability. Kind of have some accountability for what you're doing, because once you tell people, they're going to be on top of it. So that helps for you to be accountable to say, I'm not going to do that again.
Exactly. So I quit, and, you know, my coach, he was bummed, but, you know, he understood. He was very understanding.
Did you ever make the competition? Did you go?
No, I didn't. Okay. I quit the week before, and I never did it. So when you're... So even though I was towards the end, I was binging, like, I really didn't binge on, like, a lot of bad food, because I kept a lot of healthy food in the house, and the diet that I was on was, you know, very, very low carb, and you're eating just, like, chicken and fish, and so the state my body was in, you know, anything that you put, if I put anything, like, if I went and ate a pizza or went and ate cake, like, I would bloat up, like, super big.
Because you had been eating healthy.
Right. Okay. And so, you know, low sodium and low carb, and
oh, Lord,
I was
driving me crazy.
Yeah, and plus, you know, I have to drink like 1.5 gallons water a day. So, you know, I was very cleansed and pretty healthy, and, you know, abs and all that stuff, toned muscle, and so when I quit, I just kind of went 0 to 100 in a weekend, and I ate a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have, because after your competition, you're supposed to, like, a reverse diet and slowly start adding back in regular foods, which I didn't. I was like, screw this. I didn't talk to my coach. I didn't do anything I was supposed to do that he told me to do, and so I landed myself in the emergency room.
Ugh. What sent you there?
So, well, eating the food, so I swelled up super big. I mean, it looked like I had cankles. Like, my ankles were so big, and they were, like, red, and, like, I just felt awful, and I had developed severe shin splints. And so I tried to go for a run one day, and luckily I was with my mom, and I collapsed, and so she took me to the emergency room, and we were scared that I had a blood clot.
Okay. How did you acquire shin splints from? Because you were eating good and then you started eating bad?
No, I think I was already in the process of getting those just from working out so hard.
What do they feel like?
It's just like sharp pains in your shins, and like impact, like running, like that impact on your feet makes it worse.
Okay,
so it would send like sharp pains up my legs, and that's when I had collapsed. So I think those were already in the process of me working out too hard, and then with me treating my body so badly and going from one extreme to the other all the time, it just took its toll. So we were scared that I had a blood clot, because at the time my mom knew about my issue, and so you know, binging and purging can cause things like blood clots. Okay. So we were scared that like I had done that to myself, which luckily it wasn't. It was just I was just severely dehydrated. I had severe shin splints. I had low electrolytes and low liver enzymes.
Oh, you said electrolytes. So I was reading it.
Yes.
And it said that electrolytes, like if your electrolytes are not leveled right, you could die because of electrolytes. And I hear people, like, if they drink at night, you know, that night before, and they just like feel real drained, they need to get something to get their electrolytes right. I never understood that till I started researching that, and you could die from that. So
so all the binging and purging, because at that point, like, I was binging so much because I didn't have a competition to go for, so I was just like, screw it, and I just remembered, like, the first 4 days after I quit was like awful, because I couldn't stay away. I was so miserably full, but I couldn't stop eating because I had restricted myself for 20 weeks. So it's like, it was crazy. I I felt awful. But
so let's go back. So you're in the emergency room. They find out what's going on with you. In the meantime, you let them know that or they tell you. How did you get the diagnosis, or you just knew?
I told them that I didn't tell them about the binging and stuff, but I told them about me being in a competition, and then I had quit, and then I went into, you know, like eating all this crap food, and you know, like all like the salt and sodium and sugar, like it didn't matter how much water I was drinking, my body wasn't like processing it out, so I was just like retaining all this water, so I was very bloated and puffy, and it just I wasn't hydrating myself.
So the foods you eat can retain that water to keep you from getting it out. It matters what you eat to get the bloating. So now you're bloating. You think you're just this big old fat person, and now you're mad, right? No,
right. So it made it worse.
I'm saying that, Kaitlyns, because a lot of what you're saying is that I feel that it's not. I don't binge and I don't do all that, but I do a lot of those things, and I feel a lot of those things, even with my shins, and I'm like. It's the food I'm eating, and I'm not eating nothing good, and I'm probably dehydrated.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So emergency room, they find. I didn't mean to get all off on me because it's not about me, but it's just interesting to me because I never talked to anybody about it. So in the emergency room, do they refer you to someone to get help?
No, they just pumped me full of fluids and got me rehydrated. Told me for the next few days you need to drink some Pedialyte, Gatorade, watch what you're eating. They you know, told me, you know, some supplements I can take, like some like dandelion root and cranberry and things like that, just to kind of get your juices flowing again, so I can get that water processed. And so it took me a long time to really start feeling normal again. But I mean, because even like from that, I had also developed what they call amenorrhea, which is when you lose your period altogether. I hadn't had one in like 2.5 years.
And you didn't talk to your doctor about that?
Yeah, we did some tests to try to find out, but I didn't tell them that I was.
Oh, because then if you had, they could have known. They would have known. Okay.
They would have known.
So 2 years without it, young as you are, like, okay.
And so, you know, and before my competition, like, we had tried to conceive, and, like, it wasn't working, and my doctors were doing all these tests, and everything come back fine, which can happen. I mean, you can get normal test results back with that and still be, you know, bulimic. Yeah. And so, if I would have opened up to them about that, they would have known right then. Right. But I didn't. And
were you scared too?
Because
you had already told your family, right?
No, not at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because this was before the competition, and like stuff like this had been going on before. It was just when I kind of hit rock bottom, and I finally, after all of that, and you know, multiple doctor's visits, you know, just getting all these tests, trying to make sure I'm getting back to normal, and you know, taking some time off, and I got into therapy, and so
when I want to talk about that. What is therapy for a person that has an eating disorder? Because we talk about therapy if you have mental issues, and we're going to talk it out. Is that what you do? You just talk it out, and
I didn't have to. I mean, I wasn't like, I was pretty bad, but it's not like I needed to go to like a treatment center or anything like that. So I just went to normal therapy, and you basically just talk it out, and they give you certain steps and certain things to do within your life to act out, and you're supposed to work on those. It's like a treatment, but they make you do certain things.
But it's an outpatient, so like you're going home today, but you're going to go to your like a doctor's appointment every day. Right. But there are ladies or men that go and they're not strong enough, and they have to go to a facility to get it done. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, most of the time, like stuff like anorexia, where you don't eat and you starve yourself and things like that. I mean, most of the time, that's where you would have to go somewhere to admit yourself. But, and I mean, not that I had it under control by any means, because I still don't. I still have bad days.
So you still do, you're still going through it? Because this is recent. I mean, this is all just happening.
I mean, I just got, when I quit my show, that was the last week of September. So I've been trying to get back to normal. But I know that I'm taking steps forward, because even though I still have, you know, bad self-image days or days where I do overeat or maybe binge, if that's what I want to classify it as. I mean, it's just kind of at this point how I want to classify it.
Right. So have you, since September, have you purged?
Yes.
And have you over-exercised?
Yes.
So really, it's just a process because that's like smoking cigarettes. I want to quit. I really want to quit, like whoever smokes.
Yeah.
I want to quit, but go 3 days and I'm like, I just got to have the cigarette.
Right.
But then you get back on track, right?
Right.
Pick yourself up and you, just like exercising. You go and going like, I'm not going today, and you get all out and then like you start again.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something, and I've had to work on, being honest with my therapist.
Right.
She, she'll ask me questions and, I'll answer them, and then she might, we'll talk about other stuff, but we always come back at the end and she'll ask me again, and she'll be like, now were you honest? Because she'll ask me like, did you binge? Did you purge? And so I'm working on that because I've hid it for so long.
See, and that's the thing, you can hide it, because you look so good and people would never suspect you to be that way.
Yeah.
But if you're really trying to get help and you're really trying to make an impact on others and really help them, you have to be honest, right? And I think, again, by talking about it and by telling people, you're being honest with yourself because you really want the help, because you can cover it, with no problem.
Yeah.
So you have to want it. I think you have to want it.
Yeah. And
so,
the mental strength, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, it takes a lot of mental strength to do like a competition prep, but to overcome stuff like that, I've been working a lot on, self-love,
Yes.
I mean, even though I might not like my body, I need to respect my body.
That's right.
And take care of myself.
Right.
So I've been working on, just like intuitive eating, trying to eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm full. So I've been working on that with my therapist. She's given me a few books to read that I've been reading. And then just exercising because it feels good, not trying to think about how many calories I'm burning.
Because that could drive you. Girl, they say, okay, well, I want to put you on a 1,200 count. Don't tell me I need to be doing it, because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
It drives me
and that
crazy.
shouldn't, and nobody should. That is too low for anybody.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't be doing, I don't even feel like counting that. I want to do something that works for me anyway.
Right.
So, I'm glad you got the help. I'm glad that you're getting better, and it is a process. I just don't want you to give up. And I'm glad that you have like family support. I'm glad your husband is just like so supportive of you, because you need that. Like, because you felt alone, and especially when you didn't tell anybody. And that's sad, because I know it had to hurt your family, because if I knew that about a family member that went through that all while they're lonesome because they were scared to say, that's sad.
Right.
And so thank God for family.
I'm a very private person.
Yes.
And so for me to do this is not like me.
This is amazing. I want to commend you for your encouragement. I had every interview that I do, every single interview that I was like, I'm nervous, I don't do this. And it comes out because you know why you're doing it, Kaylin? You're doing it because you need to help yourself first. You need to help other people, because I can imagine who else is going, even maybe some of your clients that you can't even tell are going through it.
Because no one knew I was.
No one knew.
So if I had something like this that we're doing to watch, and someone my age doing the same things as me to connect with and relate to, that would make me feel so much better.
Yes.
And
it would give you the encouragement to tell somebody. Maybe you don't come to Phases the Next Level and talk about it, but you tell somebody, right? And by Kaylin coming here to talk about it, and it gets out to the universe, how many people are we going to impact? And we're praying for at least a handful of people.
Right. Well, when I had made my announcement, I made a big post on Facebook, and I had so many girls message me.
My gosh.
And it was awesome.
Did you become their friends on Facebook?
Yeah. Oh,
Good.
yeah, definitely.
I want them to be able to see
and
this.
So, just so many people that were like, oh my God, like, I get it. Like, I know exactly what you're going, like, they might not be going through an eating disorder, but just like body image issues and not, being happy with themselves.
Right. And it doesn't matter the age, and I'm gonna go to me, right? Because I don't want to talk about other people, but this is the biggest I've ever been in my life. And I struggle with my image. I think I'm ugly. I think I'm too big. I think I don't look good in my clothes. I don't shop. I'm not shopping for nothing.
That's how
because I'm too big for that. I didn't want to. But I haven't ever been like I would go eat and make myself throw up, or I don't feel it's that. But I feel like we have the same characteristics in a way that if that food's in there and some cookies in there, I'm gonna go eat the cookies.
I know.
And I want help for that. So I gotta. And it's a mental thing too, because I'm like, I'm really gonna not, and I'm really gonna do well.
Yeah.
And I find myself right back.
Right. It's a vicious cycle, and My poor husband, he's
got to be amazing. I don't know.
He is. He's great. But gosh, I pack his lunch every day, and he's kind of like a little child. So it's like Lunchables and Pop-Tarts and cookies and chips.
Oh gosh,
and,
all the wrong
stuff. Hot Pockets and all that stuff. And I'm
but
just
that
like,
makes you stronger, I think, in a sense. Where I can do this. If this is what he wants to eat, I'm his wife. I need to give him what he needs. But I need to do this for me. Right. And I'm not,
And he's very supportive, and there's been times where, he'll look at me like, hey, like, are you sure you really want that? Like, do you need to be doing that?
Yeah, your husband.
And so he's great, and I'm glad that I chose to open up to him, and that I've had him there through the whole thing.
That's good. So, well, he's your best friend, and that's who you needed to tell, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm glad. I want you to leave something with them out there that you think would help them, other than tell somebody, because we want them to tell.
Well,
what can you share that
my advice would be, I mean, it's gonna sound so cliche, but like, don't give up, because it is such a roller coaster, and it's so many ups and downs. Because I'll just be honest, yesterday I had a terrible day. I had a terrible day yesterday. I felt awful. I thought I looked awful, and today I feel awesome.
And you look awesome, and you're amazing. And I mean it.
Don't give up just because you're having a bad day, because tomorrow can be better.
And we're our worst critics. We will beat ourselves up. I said that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna exercise and I'm gonna eat right. And I'm telling you, it's been a couple of hours that I said that ago, and now I'm back. And I will beat myself up. And I have support from my mom and my family, and my mom is like, so what? Get up, let's brush it off, and let's try it again. Yeah. And she'll say, well, you look beautiful. If I don't look beautiful, you can tell me that, but it doesn't matter.
Exactly. I
want to feel it, look at, the whole nine, and know that I'm not lying saying that I'm doing it.
Right. And people tend to, since it's like the new year and people do New Year's resolutions, they always try to go from one extreme to the other, and you really just need to ease into it. Stuff like that. Like, if I don't feel like going hard in the gym, I might just go for a walk that day. Yeah. As long as I'm moving my body.
I think we put too much expectations on ourselves. Just do what you can and do it. So let me ask you this: are you still a trainer and still in the gym training?
No,
do you do that?
I quit training and I canceled.
Which I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was very obsessed. So I built a home gym in my garage. And so I work out at home and I love it because I don't have to worry about other people seeing other people. I don't care about what they think about me,
it does not matter.
I've removed myself from that, for myself, and I'm trying to focus on other things like my real job, my marriage, my family.
That's right. The important things.
Right. Because when you go through this stuff and you go to, we would go to like barbecues or family events and it would just drive me freaking crazy because I couldn't have this or if I did allow myself, like I would eat too much and then I wasn't fully present.
And then Kaitlyns, when we're not good, how can we be good for our family? How can you be good for your husband and your sisters and mom or whatever if you can't be good for yourself?
And my mom had sit down with me and we kind of had like an epiphany moment and I was awful to my family and my husband when I was going through that, and so ever since I quit, my marriage and my relationships have flourished.
God is so good.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
I'm so happy for you.
Even though I have bad days, I don't have a six-pack anymore, but I freaking care less.
Yeah, who cares about that whenever you're trying to get well?
Yeah.
And even, when you get well and you never ever have a six-pack again, so what?
Yeah.
So I can tell you that and I can sit here and say that to you. It's easy, right? I need to work on me. This was good for me. So I know it's going to help other women. Men struggle too, but a lot of men just don't care, whatever.
Yeah,
who cares?
I know.
But women and young girls really care about their image, and we really beat ourselves up. And really, when we really are beautiful, just like how God made us, we don't think that. And then that's when either the anorexic, the bulimia, the self-medicating and all that stuff comes, and we try every day. So I thank you. And I was going to really just send people your way if you were, but since you're not doing that anymore and you need to work on you, then I thank you for coming. I thank you for sharing. Oh, Kaitlyns, you helped me a lot. I might be calling you saying, Kaitlyns, I'm struggling today.
I'll be there.
Yeah, okay. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do hope that this has helped someone, that it has impacted someone. Really, please share this video so that we can get young ladies, young girls, women, men, whoever are struggling with eating disorders, get them the help they need. And the first step is to tell someone to get their help. So, Kaitlyns, thank you. To everyone else, thank you for joining us. You guys have a great afternoon. Say your prayers. God bless you. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and share inside of YouTube. Thank you. Have a good day.